All right. A redo ride with Rosie Tran.
We definitely did not follow the same map, and it was still really,
And Marc Scott
really
allergies.
fun. It was really fun. And I'm sorry about the sneezing, folks, but man, this, what a gem. Like, I can't say it any better than that. What an amazing discussion.
All right, so mute your fucking mic. All right, so this really is, she is definitely a professional entertainer, producer, author, stand-up comedian, OnlyFans model, and really a very warm, humane individual. It was a wonderful visit with her. So support Blast, Compton Cowboys, subscribe, enjoy the ride.
Sis, hallo?
Blijven.
Bestuur zeker wegen them.
Yo je iets niet, joh.
Two outlaws on the lam, taking the back roads through America.
You can't drink enough coffee for this show.
And now it's time for Monday Madness with the Moped Outlaws, Greg and Marc.
All right, you are on another ride with Moped Outlaws, and today we have a redo due to technical difficulties with Rosie Tran, who is a podcast host, author, stand-up comedian, television host, OnlyFans contributor, and a wife and a dear friend to many. Rosie, welcome back.
I'm back, bitches.
Yeah.
We're so glad. It was such a great conversation. And too bad you guys won't get to hear that one, but you're going to get to
That's what we
this one.
say. We say it was a good conversation, but they'll never know.
They might one day.
It could have been a horrible conversation.
Yeah, I felt horrible afterwards. I know that. I had to shower 3 times.
Oh, dear. You went to her OnlyFans, huh? Hey, speaking of OnlyFans, how is that for you? Like, and we're talking about your NC-17 model, so you're very clear with what you do.
It's not NC-17, it's PG-17, which is even more squeaky clean. No, I always tell everyone it's not squeaky clean. I always tell everyone, though, who asks me about it, I don't post anything on there in a chat or on a public view that I would be ashamed to show my mother.
All right.
That's great.
So, yeah, so it's risque, but according to the movie ratings, certain things are not shown, so I'm PG-17 plus.
All right, so and you mentioned something that you would be willing to show to your mom, and also I forget where I saw it somewhere. It was either on your OnlyFans account or on your social media or something about part of the journey for you has been your own acceptance of who you are, accepting your body, accepting yourself as yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason I started it. So part of the reason I started it is because I was already posting most of these photos on Instagram for free. And so I was like, okay, well, I might as well put it on OnlyFans and make a couple extra bucks. That was the thing. So nothing that I post on OnlyFans is something that I haven't posted in the past, the type of stuff on Instagram. The second reason was because I was very shy growing up. I grew up in a very religious, dogmatic religion. I'm not anti-religion. I'm actually a religious person, but very dogmatic and constrictive religious environment. And I was really taught to be like ashamed of my body and ashamed of who I was in a way, which I think is not a good, like, that's not good. No. Like, I think some people go too far, right? Like, you see these like crazy, like body positivity, and the person is like, 700 pounds, out of a healthy body weight, and it's like absolutely crazy. And you're like, okay, that's a little bit too much body acceptance. So we need like a little bit of shame so that you don't die of like a massive coronary heart attack. But I think, you know, people should accept their bodies and should accept who they are. And it was just something that I was so taught to shame, you know. And it's really weird because I don't know, you know, they say that's like an Asian American thing or a Vietnamese American thing. You know, Vietnamese culture is very conservative, but they're very actually body positive in certain parts of like Japan and Korea. They have like the Asian spas where people go and have like communal bathing and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say it's a generically Asian thing, but definitely in my culture and in my upbringing, I was taught like, don't show anything, don't, you know, it was a very kind of consistent, but invisible message. Like it wasn't blatant. It wasn't like, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself, cover up. But, you know, it was very subtle. So my mom would, you know, make comments or like, even if I laughed too loud, like I love a huge witch cackle. Like I love like throwing my head back and be like, ah! And my mom would be like, you can't laugh out loud like that, you know? So it's just an expression of who I am. And the fact that I really value, you know, freedom and it sounds really cheesy with the 250th anniversary of America just happening, but I really, really value freedom. And I think it's like my way of like protesting almost, because like I see these horrible stories of women in Afghanistan and in, you know, with the Taliban being forced to cover up from head to toe. And so by me, like, I guess exposing myself in a way, I'm like, F you, you know, F you, I'm going to do what I want.
I love that. Do you think shame like this goes back further than Judeo-Christian influence over Asian culture, or do you think it came in as part of the Christian influence?
I don't know, because my mom, there's people in my family who are Buddhist and there's people who are Christian, and I think the shame was across the board. So
it's cultural.
I think it's cultural, but I actually don't think shame is a bad emotion. I think shame is a great emotion if it's used correctly. I just think a lot of times in society we shame the wrong type of things. But like there's behavior that people do that they should be ashamed of.
And that's true. Yes. Speaking of 250 years of America.
And there's a distinction between shame and not revulsion, but you know, non-acceptance, right?
Yeah.
Like right now, it's super chic in Hollywood to have used a GLP-1 to the level of which you're extremely thin.
Yeah.
And I think there's a backlash against that. People are revolted by that body image. And it's almost like we're going to shame them.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that it just depends on how the shame is used. Like shame can be a healthy, I think all emotions are healthy. Feeling sad, feeling angry. It's just when it's like out of control or like incorrectly used, right? So like anger is a healthy emotion. If someone violates you, you should feel angry. Like that's a normal human emotion. You should be pissed. You should, you know, feel what you need to feel. But it's when people are unhealthily angry, like they're angry all the time, or they're like really bitter, or they're like, you know, have something in their life that they should get over and they're like constantly harping over it. So all of these things are good. But I think that the way that shame was used for me was a projection. I think my mom had a lot of issues with her body and she had a lot of issues with her body image, and she was kind of putting that onto me and my sisters. And I think a lot of women and men do that to their kids, right? They project their own insecurities. And so that's a very unhealthy form of shame. So my OnlyFans is a way to be like, hey, I'm 42 and I'm fine with my body and I'm happy and this is what's happening and I'm getting gray and my arm's sagging and this and that, and I'm fine with it.
Beautiful.
Did it kind of force your husband onto a journey of exploration as well?
Well, so he was very unhappy at first when I wanted to do OnlyFans, but not for the reasons you would think. So what would you think a husband would be unhappy that his wife would be on OnlyFans?
Yeah, that she's sharing too much, or that he should be receiving attention that might make him less valuable to her.
Well, I also think in the
Greg?
family, you know, like his family learning like his wife is on OnlyFans, the shame of that.
Okay, those are good guesses. So my husband is totally 100% secure and supportive and loves the fact that I do OnlyFans now. But the reason he was against it was actually for my emotional and mental well-being. So as a stand-up comedian, I had been stalked before, harassed by negative people online and things like that. And so he was worried, you know, you're sharing yourself out there in a way that could be perceived as extremely vulnerable. And so you might get more stalkers, might get more, you know, creepy people that have, speaking of, boundary issues, right, that might feel more inclined to overhaul your boundaries. So his concern was 100% for my emotional well-being and health, which I think is a healthy husband point
That's
of view.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. So he
That's
was like, I don't want that to happen to you. And so I said, okay, well, let's try it out and see what happens. And I haven't had any issues. In fact, I screen heavily, and I think that helps me too, because I have a lot of girlfriends that are comedians, actresses that also do OnlyFans, and they get a lot more harassment than I do. And I think that me having very strong boundaries and strictly filtering out actually makes my fans more like treating me as a human, treating me as empathetic. So I'm kind of like sassy. Like I have really strong boundaries on OnlyFans, and I think that kind of filters out people that are apt to trample them.
Do you? How does one screen on OnlyFans? Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, so I have a screening system, and my screening system consists of asking people questions. And if you have really strong boundaries, people that don't, or people that want to trample them, will sense it in the conversation, and they'll be repulsed by you. So
they screen themselves.
They screen themselves. So I'll give you an example. So I don't do any nudes. All of my content is implied, which means I might be naked, but I'm covering things with my hands, or like a vase or a balloon or like a pet. And I do lingerie or bikini, right? So nothing, like I said, nothing that I would be embarrassed to show my mom. So I regularly get people that say, well, do you do nudes? And I'll say, no, I don't. So that's my first boundary. And then if they start pushing, which often happens, they'll say, well, what if I pay you this, or what if I pay you that, or what if I pay you more? And I go, no, sorry, I don't do them. And that's me reinforcing the boundary. And then at that point, two things will happen. They'll either say, hey, this OnlyFans content creator is not my thing, and they'll go away from me. Or they'll say, okay, I really like her. She's cool. I want to like get to know her, or like find out what she's about. And they'll stay, and they'll respect the boundary, because there's nothing else they can do. I've said, no, I don't do this. Go away.
Right.
And has this way of expressing yourself, this market, impacted your comedy career in any negative ways?
Not to my knowledge. I think so. I think what you're thinking of, Marc, I think it would have impacted me extremely negatively 10 or 15 years ago. And I think things have just changed so much with the internet that I've talked to so many people, and actually they consider, unfortunately, the internet has gone so wild west and so far, off the cliff, that my content is actually on OnlyFans is actually considered extremely tame and extremely like, just like, and actually that's what most of my fans on OnlyFans are. They're a lot of men and women who are like, they kind of want to chat with someone that, is in the entertainment world, and they're interested in my time and things like that. But it's not necessarily, like, a lot of people have the stereotype that OnlyFans is, pornographic, or it's adult content. And there is that, obviously that's on there. But also you can go on X videos, you can go on Pornhub and get all of that type of content for absolutely free. So that's not what people are going on OnlyFans for. They're going on OnlyFans to talk to creators. They're going on OnlyFans to, a lot of times, look for companionship. They're lonely. I have a lot of huge OnlyFans that are in the military, and they're stationed in like remote areas where they literally have no one to talk to. And so they're like, well, I would rather pay this like cool, like quasi celebrity person and chit chat with them than like, look outside at trees for like 7 hours. So yeah, I have a lot of military fans that are stationed in the middle of nowhere, and they're quite literally just totally like isolated.
Wow.
Has OnlyFans come to a point where it's like seen as social media by club owners and stuff, and they actually count it as followers for you?
I don't know, Greg. That's a really good question. I know that there's a lot of non-adult content creators on there now. A lot of my friends are comedians, and they purely post comedy content on there, and like not even anything like remotely adult themed at all. And I know that it's helped my comedy, because I've had people that are not necessarily traditional comedy audiences that follow me on there, and they're like, oh, I saw you're a comedian. Like, what's up with that? And then they'll go and like follow me on YouTube or follow me on Instagram and watch my comedy and be like, wow, you're really funny. Like, that's kind of cool. So I think that, Marc, to address your original question, I think that this is something that would absolutely have hurt me. Absolutely. No, without a doubt, 10 to 15 years ago. but the market has changed so much and it's become such a mainstream thing. And there's even like some of the top creators on OnlyFans were like huge mainstream artists and things like that, Bella Thorne and other things like that. So I think that it just shifted quite a bit. And like I said, it's considered so tame. There's another platform, I can't recall the name, that's an OnlyFans competitor. And it's similar to OnlyFans, but even more explicit. So I think I'm blanking for some reason. And I think that platform has taken over what people think is OnlyFans. And OnlyFans is more of a combination of like a Patreon almost. Sexy Patreon.
Right. And I love it. I think, I'm personally very liberal when it comes to sex myself. And I think the more taboo it is, the more it creates problems for us, as opposed to, and within limits. There are things that I don't consider reasonable in that regard, and I won't go into them here because they already get enough press. But the idea of it augmenting your career, and like you're an author and a producer, right? You've produced this show that's Rosie Tran Presents, right?
Yes.
And tell us about that. How was that before OnlyFans? I mean, I hate to orient everything around OnlyFans, but like, how did you come to present Rosie Tran Presents, and what's going on there?
Yeah, so Rosie Tran Presents is my 10-episode stand-up comedy series where I interview comics, and it came about so the seed for it was planted about 10 years ago. I wanted to do a sexy hot girls comedy tour, and with me and a few of my girlfriends. And that came about because I had done a show in Colorado at the Looney Bin in Colorado Springs with two other female comedians, and Laura Callahan, who is a wonderful female headliner, and Laura Hayden, the show was very well received. We did, I think it was like a Wednesday through Sunday, and every show we had people coming up to us, men, women, all ages, saying, "Oh my God, you guys are so funny. They need, more funny, beautiful women." And the enthusiasm was like insane. And so I went to a comedy club chain, a national comedy club chain, which I won't name because I don't want to get super liable. And I said, "Hey, I want to do this funny hot girls tour. I think it's a great idea. We can market to bachelorette parties. We can market to mom's night outs. We can like get Playboy as a sponsor." Like I had all these ideas, and I and make it like a fun, sexy, like girls night out type of thing. And this is a club that I had worked for many, many years as a feature comedian. And the manager sent me an email, not a nasty email, but not a nice email, saying, "Rosie, I love you. You're hilarious, but nobody wants to see funny, hot women. Sorry."
Wow. Oopsie. That person does not know what they're talking about, but go on.
So he's like, "It's just not something that sells." So I said, "Okay, thank you very much." And so that was the seed for the idea, which ended up being Wicked Women of Comedy, which is episode 3 and 4 of Rosie Tran Presents. So that was just a seed. And then fast forward to 2 years ago. So whatever the math is, 10 minus 8, whatever. 8 years later. I was helping my friend with his one-man show, and I was spending a lot of time helping him, and he kind of self-sabotaged the show, and it didn't go well. And, I had spent an enormous amount of personal effort helping him kind of come up with ideas and things like that. And I went to see one of my friends, and she said, "Rosie, why are you wasting all your time helping this person with this that doesn't even appreciate it, and it's like not going anywhere? You need to spend that energy on yourself. You need to spend that energy helping yourself and focusing on one of your projects." And it was kind of a wake-up call because I'm what we call like an overgiver. Like I love helping people and helping my friends, and sometimes to my own detriment, right? And so I said, "Okay, well, what would I do if I had a project to work on?" So that was the second seed. The third seed was Austin, Texas. So a lot of Los Angeles comedians are moving to Texas, specifically Austin. A lot of people were following Joe Rogan at the time, who moved out there and opened the Comedy Mothership. Kill Tony moved out there. Tony Hinchcliffe, and started Kill Tony, and Tony Hinchcliffe. A lot of people don't realize this, but he did not actually blow up. He left Los Angeles, and he wasn't not doing well in Los Angeles, but he wasn't doing that great. He wasn't, Tony Hinchcliffe, the Tony Hinchcliffe yet. And even in Austin, he was not the Tony Hinchcliffe for the first 2 years. If you look at the old Kill Tony clips, he had posted, multiple Kill Tony clips, and they had like 100 views, 300 views. It was not the Kill Tony that we know it now. Something happened. He reached a critical mass where one of the clips went viral, and it created a avalanche of virality, I guess, on all of his clips. And then Kill Tony just blew up almost overnight. So a lot of people were like, you need to move to Austin. You have to move to Austin. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. So I went to Austin and I performed, and I looked at the scene there, and I had a blast. And I was on the cusp of, should I leave Los Angeles and move to Austin? And one of my friends, who was not trying to be mean at all, he was trying to be supportive, goes, well, why the heck are you in Los Angeles anyway? Like, what are you doing there? Like, what's so big for you in LA? And so I took his question seriously, and I thought, what am I doing in Los Angeles? Is it because I'm here and it's expensive? And so I thought, well, what am I doing here? Well, I'd be here for film and television. That's why I moved here from New Orleans. That's why I left my family and all my friends to be here for entertainment, but mostly film and television, because I can do stand-up, in New Orleans, and I can do stand-up anywhere. So I said, okay, well, if I'm here, if I decide to move to Austin or not, it doesn't matter. What am I doing in Los Angeles? I'm in Los Angeles for film and television. So do film and television. So that's when all three of those things came together. The female comedy tour, why am I helping other people and not helping myself? And what am I doing in LA? And they converged, and they exploded into Rosie Tran Presents.
So how did that go? Where could people watch that if they wanted to watch that?
Yes, so it's on Tubi for free with ads. Tubi is a free streaming app, kind of like Netflix. Well, Netflix you have to pay, and then it's on Amazon Prime, but you have to pay. So it's like $14 for the season. But you're supporting me. But either way, you're supporting me. So check it out and watch it and leave a positive comment. It's 10 episodes. Guys?
Oh no!
Did I lose you guys?
Oh yeah,
Your video just cut out, and it looks like there's a phone. We're getting audio from your phone.
There's no phone. What's going on?
Oh, come on! All right,
Well,
I'm gonna pause.
Let's try and
recording for a second.
Can you pause it? I don't know that. Don't be scared. Welcome back. There was a slight glitch, but we've got Rosie back now in this great, amazing world of internet and satellite TV. It used to cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this. We're glad you made it back. You were talking about how your show became the show, and how it was available on Prime, and you could order it on Tubi.
Yes.
What's sort of the capper to the story?
Yes, I'll just say that's. Okay, you guys.
And we're back. It should be said that we've been like the last show we did, there was this, and it ruined the whole show, and it reared its ugly head again today. But we are determined to have fun with funny Rosie. Out of the box, Rosie. Literally kicked out of the box, Rosie.
We're having fun. We're having fun. StreamYard gods.
Yes. And obviously I didn't sacrifice enough sourdough.
Oh my God. We needed a whole sourdough bowl with the chowder in it.
Exactly.
Ooh.
All over the floor.
That's not on my diet. But so I think we were able to successfully sort of talk about your show, Rosie Tran Presents. But there was one question we didn't get to ask, which is, was it successful enough that you want to do another one?
Yes, I do. I want to do a season 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd love to do 10 seasons, but it's up to the streaming gods. So everyone has to go on Tubi and Amazon and watch it or buy it and leave a positive comment. And if you totally hated it, then leave a negative comment. I don't care. Just watch it and leave comments and make the algorithm make it popular.
And we'll make sure that there's a link in the show notes for this.
Yes.
How has that changed your path as an entertainer to have this producer hat now? That's suddenly a vital piece of who you are.
Yeah. So what I realized that it takes the same amount of energy to produce a low how do I want to word this to not insult people? To produce a kind of like a low as in low impact, low reach production as it does to produce a high reach production. So what that means is like my show is available on Tubi. It's available all across the world. So people have actually messaged me that have watched it like in Australia. They've watched it like all over the world. So because I produce this show, literally I have access to 8.5 billion people could potentially watch a show. You know, even in Africa where some people don't even have running water, everyone has like a little smartphone and you can download the Tubi app and watch Rosie Tran Presents. So it's Rosie Tran Presents is more like readily available than water. What? Like that's crazy. But if I were to spend all the energy to produce a comedy event, for example, in Los Angeles somewhere, that's awesome. Again, I'm not saying low as in like it's low level. I just mean low reach, right? So maybe let's say the venue holds 50 people. I would only be able to reach 50 people, right? And so, and what I realized is it's the same amount of effort. So why not create something that could potentially reach 8.5 billion people? Obviously, not everyone on earth is going to watch Rosie Tran Presents, but the potential is that it can reach 8.5 billion people versus producing a local event that's only going to reach maybe 50 people, 100 people, which there's nothing wrong with only reaching 50 or 100 people. And there's nothing wrong with reaching your local environment and people in your community and in your neighbors and things like that. But to have a bigger reach, you have to use the internet. And so the internet is like this really awesome thing because I get to be on your podcast and people can watch this podcast all over the world too.
Yes, and we would love that. We would definitely love that. Please, if you're watching this in Singapore, which we know some of you are, please go ahead and write into the show and you know, go follow Rosie on Instagram or IG or X or OnlyFans.
Do you guys see your numbers? Do you guys see your numbers and what countries and everything people come from and what they watch?
Yep.
Yeah.
Who was it that beat out Singapore recently? Who's number
Germany?
two? Germany
came into second place after the U.S. It
I mean,
was
long
isn't
time.
that the coolest thing in the freaking world?
Yeah,
is,
it really is.
yeah.
Especially when you consider our German and our I don't know what they speak in Singapore. Is it Mandarin? I don't know. Our language skills are not.
Well, okay, I have a question about language.
Okay,
and
save me.
communication. That was a good segue, Marc. Part of what you mentioned with OnlyFans is people are there for connection. And
I'm so sorry I brought it up.
Part of with a marriage is the intimacy, you know, which we know goes beyond physical. And I'm wondering if you personally have felt boundaries sort of softened or challenged by intimacies created on OnlyFans. Again, we're not talking physical, we're talking that human connection that comes from communication.
Are you saying has my marriage suffered? Is that what you're asking?
No. Have there been a challenge, or like has that even not ever come up?
Oh, no, I don't think it's come up. I think that I am naturally a person. So I don't think that I don't think it's for everyone. And what I mean by that is like every creator, like some creators, it might be extremely emotionally draining for them. Like I said, initially when I was kind of not putting my energy into myself, when I was helping my friend with his one-man show, I tend to be a natural giver. I love chatting with people. I love talking to people, obviously within my own boundaries and things like that. And I like worry about my fans. like, you know, one of my fans, like he's been working a lot. I'm like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? You know, another fan, like his like neighbor died and I'm like worried about him. I'm like, are you okay? Like, is everything okay? So I see it as I'm just like a caring friend. I don't feel that boundaries have been violated. I think because I do screen very heavily. And I think that there's like studies about this. The more that people see you as a human being, the more they'll treat you as one. And so I think that, I mean, it just sounds so cheesy and corny and woo, but like my fans are like really sweet and like I care about them and I worry about them and I think about them. Like it's not transactional for me. Obviously, it's lovely to get money, but I also like actually really enjoy talking to them and getting to know them. And like some of them will like tell me things about them and share things with me and like talk about their grandkids and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just feel like I'm like a friend that sends them like bikini pics sometimes. I don't know.
That's hilarious.
Oh, those are good friends.
I want to ask about the money question, but I want to do it in a way that doesn't actually disclose amounts,
Okay.
but more in terms of weights and like where the most
Weights and measures.
Yeah, like for instance, you have a viable stand-up touring career, right?
Yes.
And you have an OnlyFans page, and you have a special that you've done.
Yeah.
And you've got a book that you've written.
Yes.
In terms of all of these different amazing things that you're doing, where are the stronger sorts of streams of revenue coming
I'll
from
tell you right off the bat. So I have OnlyFans. So out of all the things that you listed, OnlyFans is by far my number one income stream. Second is comedy. And then third is my special, and fourth is my book. So
tell us about the book a little bit.
Yeah, so it's a meditation book. It's called 52 Weeks to Meditation. It was just, I'm not like a big like meditator, and it makes me sound like a meditation person. My book is a great reminder to myself that I need to meditate more, but it was just something that was inside of me and I wanted to write it. And originally the idea was 365 days to meditation. And I wanted to do a daily meditative thought for people to kind of meditate, because I'm a horrible meditator. So I have really, really bad monkey brain. And when I try to silence my mind and close my eyes and be silent, my brain's like, and so I do really great with a guided meditation, which is so there's different types of meditation, right? So guided meditation is like you listen to something and they tell you, think about this, think about that. So your mind has something to focus on instead of just silence. Right. And then there's like different types of meditation, like where you just think about one thing. So like, if you're working on your self-worth, you would just close your eyes and deep breathe and say, I'm worthy, or I'm a good person, or whatever you want to tell yourself or motivate yourself to do. Right. So there's different types. My meditation book is more about meditative prayer. And so each one is like a thought of the week. And it's something that I ask the reader to, when they're meditate, to think about that as the message of the week. So it's a little bit different, but, and it's a positive message, and it's all stuff that I've struggled with as well. So.
And have you incorporated that into any other media? Do you do any like audio presentations of it, or read it on OnlyFans or anything like that?
No, but that would be interesting. Actually, this is horrible, Mark. I believe I have an audiobook, but I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure I recorded one. And I know that I think some revenue comes from it, so I'm sure I've done it, but it's like, I have so many things, and my book is like a few years old, so I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I have an audiobook.
So I'm just officially recommending to you that a series on your OnlyFans could be you reading from your meditation book in various ways.
That's a really good idea, Mark. I might do that. So I might take that, and then it's a way for me to like cross promote my book. But who wants to be that person like cross promoting themselves constantly? I'm like, don't
do it as a cross promotion. Just do it, and
here's
then people will go, book. We didn't know.
Well, all right, so let me challenge that though, because Kevin Hart is someone who comes to mind who's constantly cross promoting. He's also doing really well.
Yes, he is. I guess, I don't know. Maybe I compartmentalize too much. And like in my mind, that's like a separate Rosie.
I mean, right. That's what I'm wondering. Like, I think if you threw on your producer manager hat, that person would say, cross promote, do it, like sell everything.
I don't know. Like I've talked to people before, and they're like, "You're so like, what is the word? Like you're so calm, and you're so like wise, and this and that, and like you should talk about that in your stand-up." I'm like, I tell like dick jokes. Like, I don't know.
People do not go to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do people want to go to stand-up and hear like me like talking about all this shit? I don't know. So yeah, Mark's like, no.
That's a keynote. If you got to do a keynote if you want to do that.
Well, let me ask you both kind of, because there's George Carlin's famous last stand-up for sure. His special was pretty much him ranting about society, and
it's one of my favorite specials.
Well, okay, so there you go. So it seems there is a place for that.
I don't know. Where. So that's something that I've always struggled with in stand-up in general, is that I don't fit into any box. Like I don't have, that's why I'm out of the box, Rosie. But and my podcast is out of the box podcast. But I really don't fit into any box, and I think I confuse a lot of people because they don't understand who I am, and like they can't put a read on me. Like they're like, okay, she's like religious, but she does OnlyFans. She's married, but she's like talking to guys online. Like, what is this, right? And so, but actually, if you get to know me and learn about all of my belief systems, they're pretty congruent and they're in line. It's just that I think society puts people into so many boxes that they say you can't be two things at the same time, right? Like there's this duality. It's like, oh, you can't be a woman and be a, this is not me, I'm just giving examples. They're like, oh, you can't be a woman and be a conservative. You can't be, a black guy and be, whatever,
And swim.
And swim, right? Marc's
my
like,
God.
oh no, that's so racist. So there's
Trope warning.
there's all sorts of like stereotypes that people feel like you can't be one thing or another, right? You there's this duality thing that people can't hold two things in their mind at the same time or their head explodes. And so I don't think that I do not think, and my husband will, agree with me 100%, that me talking to other guys makes me less of a dedicated and loving wife. If anything, it makes me more of a dedicated and loving wife because I'm talking to all these different people and I'm saying, hey, I'm talking to like maybe 5 guys at a time, and all of them are reminding me that I love my husband and he's the one I want to be with. Like choosing to be with someone isn't really a choice if they're the person you're stuck with, but I have like unlimited options and I still choose to be with him. So it's like, he's really the one I love, right?
That's a great way to look at it for sure.
Yeah.
I think the compartmentalized Rosie, it'd be like you could be the version of you on OnlyFans who reads this other person's book.
You know what? I'm going to hire Marc. You have actually passed the audition and you are officially my marketing manager. So
okay, cool. I love it.
He gets 26%.
And Marc is very positive about my book. I'm excited.
Yeah, well, I just think we are such complex beings, and the idea that we don't fit into boxes is really what makes life so rich.
Yeah,
and I think it's when we look at like people like James Dean, Elizabeth Taylor, Barbara Streisand, all of these folks, they don't fit a box at the time, but in at a future date, they define a new box because there was nothing before them that's like that. And so you represent that in the sense that you're committed to this level of authenticity and freedom of expression in the way that you approach things. And that gives you a whole arena that's beyond this typical kind of, where do we put her? What slot do we put her in kind of thing? And
yes,
when you see
Marc, you're hired.
I'm sorry. I guess I keep auditioning.
You're so good at this. Let me just take notes about everything you're saying. You're so good.
All right. Normally I don't do this, but I am a coach, and if you want to chat, no charge, I'm happy to just meet with you on the side.
So that's why he's cross promoting. Okay. He doesn't want me to cross promote. He's cross promoting. Okay.
Well, I'm trying not to do that. I just want you to. I appreciate what you've created, and when I feel that about someone, I get in the game with them. And it just so happens that what I do is coaching. So, but this isn't about me. This is about you. So let's be like, do you have jokes about life coaches? What are your favorite life coach jokes?
I don't have any jokes about life coaches. I don't.
I can help you with that.
Mix them up right now. What was one of your highlight stand-up nights?
So it's so funny. You know how they always say, like, when you're struggling, that it's horrible, but in hindsight, it's always like a wonderful thing, right? Like when people kind of idealize the past, they always idolize the time when they were like suffering, like, oh, remember how how tough it was in college or how broke I was, right? So people always have these things. And actually, one of my best stand-up memories is one of my worst shows, because so many of my bad shows, I like learned so much about people. Like, you just learn so much more from bad shows than good shows, and they suck at the time, but then later you're like, oh, that was a really good lesson.
All right. So what's one of the bad shows that's in your mind right now where you're like, I learned a lot that night?
I'm going to give you guys 3 stories. It's super short, and just teaching me about life, teaching me about stand-up, teaching me about putting my own expectations and judgments and putting people in their own boxes. So
Are we allowed to laugh?
Sure.
Go on.
So I always tell new comics, or I always tell comics that, because a lot of times comics, we project a lot. Like, we'll see someone, for example, and they're frowning during the show, and we'll project that they're not having a good time, right? And so sometimes you'll see comics and they'll be on stage and be like, man, this audience sucks, or what's up with this guy? He's not laughing, right? And I say never, ever, ever, ever do that, because you never know what's happening. So I did a show one time, and there was a guy, and he was like totally frowning during my entire set, did not laugh at all, had his arms crossed, and just genuinely looked like a completely miserable person. Well, the guy comes up to me after the show, and he's like, hey, I just wanted to let you know, I thought you were really funny, and I really appreciate you. You're awesome. And I was like, okay, thank you. And then I asked him, I said, do you mind if I ask you a question? And he said, sure. What? And I said, then why didn't you laugh at all? And he said, you know what? I had a really bad day at work, and it's been really, really tough. And I decided to come to the stand-up show to cheer myself up, and you cheered me up. So just because someone is not smiling or laughing or outwardly showing their expression doesn't mean they're not enjoying you. And so it was a lesson for me on judgment. But also sometimes you can like really alienate the crowd if you do that. If someone's having a great time and enjoying you, and you're like, what's up with this asshole? He's frowning in the front row. And you pick on this person, and maybe they're having a bad day or something. So that goes to my second story. So I was doing a show in Los Angeles, and at Peppers, it was a dive bar. And it was a similar situation, a woman sitting in this front row, arms crossed, looking miserable, whatever. And again, comedians, performers, keep your mouth shut. You never know what's happening. They might not be enjoying your act. So I call her out and I go, what's up? It looks like you just came from your dad's funeral or something. And she goes, I did.
Oh, God. Oh, shit. Ooh.
Yeah, so I just dug myself into the deepest hole. After the show, I came up to her and apologized. And I said, well, why did you come to the comedy show? She goes, well, I was so depressed. I thought coming to the comedy show would cheer me up.
But now I'm going to go home and shoot myself. Thank you.
Exactly. Wow. So like I said, sometimes your worst shows teach you lessons, and they're funny, and in hindsight.
Did that moment kill that set for you, or did you?
Oh, it killed the set into a grave. It was because I came off as a bully, which I'm not. My stand-up persona is like very bubbly and fun. I came off as a bully. The entire crowd felt awkward. Everyone around her felt awkward, and it just killed the energy so quick. I've never killed a crowd quicker than that.
Well, so as a professional in hindsight, do you see a way you could have brought it out of that?
There could have been, but I think it takes a very, very skilled comedian. And at that time in my career, I did not have that skill to do it. And I am not, in general, a particularly skilled crowd work comedian. And I mean, that is just one of those comedy instances where you've dug a hole, and now you're coming out of it.
Yeah. All right, you said there were 3 stories.
Yeah, this is my third story. Is a story of triumph in the barrio. So I was performing at a bar that is, I believe, now shuttered in East LA, and it was known as one of the toughest comedy rooms in Los Angeles. And to give you an example of how tough it was, one of my comedian friends told a joke that offended someone, and he had to run into the alley and hide in the dumpster so they wouldn't beat him up. So it was known as the gang bar. I don't know why they had stand-up there, but it was the gang-affiliated bar. And I went there one night, and the comedians were all just bombing, like eating a turd on stage, and they were all coming off, and they were like, it's rough out there. It's not good. I think they had turned off the Dodger game. all of the gangbangers were pissed off. You know, they're like, we don't want to see comedy. We want to watch the Dodger game. So
Oh my God.
it was rough. Everyone was getting heckled, and the audience was just talking over the comedians. It was absolutely horrible. And then, you know, the host is like, okay, Rosie, you're next. I'm like, great. So I decided to do a little psychological trick, and I've seen this worked before. So I went up there, and instead of trying to dominate, right? That's what comedians do sometimes when the audience is really unruly. They try to dominate. They go, hey, everyone, listen to me. And I did the opposite. I went on stage and I did my stand-up very quietly. And I focused on the women in the room. And, you know, slowly I got one woman. And then I got another woman. And then next thing you know, you see the girlfriends, you know, elbowing their boyfriends and going, you know, shut up. I'm trying to listen to her. She's funny. I can't hear her. You're talking too loud, right? And so I kind of rallied all the women, and then they got their, you know, gangbanger boyfriends to shut up. They're like, hey, shut up. You're trying to listen to this Asian chick on stage. And I turned the room around, and at the end of the room, everyone was listening. They were all paying attention. They were all laughing. They were clapping. I got off stage. I had a couple like cholo gangbanger guys come up to me like, hey, you're pretty funny. I'm like, oh, thanks. And like all of the other comedians in the room, some of them who were like pretty big comics, you know, turned into pretty big comics, but were time up and coming and very hilarious comedians were like, what just happened? Did you just tame this room of like gangbangers?
That's awesome.
And it was awesome.
Can I inquire as to the gender of the other comics?
They were mostly male. I think I was the only female comic. Yeah. So it was really cool. I like turned it around, but it was
really cool.
But I was also close to getting, you know, heckled off the stage. I mean, it was bad. They were heckling people off the stage. They were, boo, get off the stage, you know, fuck you, turn the Dodger game on. It was not a conducive environment. And so I took a risk and I was like, let's see if this experiment works. And it did. And it's still one of my best comedy memories ever, because everyone else was just getting, you know, roasted on stage, you know, burned at the stake and crucified. And I went up there and I kind of was whispering my stand up and focusing. I was like, I'm going to make one person laugh at a time, and I'm going to evangelicalize them into the Rosie comedy world.
That's actually a really brave thing to do too, to be that intimate with a single individual. Yeah.
But it works. I've seen it happen too. You know, I did a really rough gig one time, and I wasn't the one in this situation to evangelicalize the crowd into the comedy world. It was another comedian friend of mine, Dwayne Perkins. And he did kind of the same technique, which is where I learned it, where he got quieter, not louder. And what happened was all the people that were talking really loud, the people that are paying attention, they start, you know, turning on the loud people. They go, hey, shut up. I'm trying to watch the show.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Let's go to the other polarity. What are 3 shows that you did that on the outside, the way they look in terms of how big the venue was, or the level of cachet that was part of the event, that were rocking good, but left you empty? Like you were like, this was great, but there was something missing.
Yeah, so I mean, that happens a lot just with like big, great shows. Like I've had shows that, you know, Brea Improv, which is like 300 plus seats, were sold out. And that usually happens more because it's like physically exhausting. And what I mean by that is, you know, I sell merch after the show. I sell t-shirts and bumper stickers and things like that. And so there's a lot of audience interaction after the show. And there's just a lot of people like, oh, you were great, you were funny, which is obviously like really nice to hear. But, you know, when 300 people are shuffling out the room and maybe a third of them are stopping to chit chat with you, it can become insanely emotionally, mentally, and physically draining. And everyone wants to tell a story, and everyone has some story that they want to tell about a bit that you did that reminded them of their cousin or something like that. And it's just an extreme amount of like emotional labor for someone who, I don't want to say it's like a low ROI emotional labor, but you're kind of not getting much in return, because it's usually a fan that they might not turn into a long-term fan. Maybe they're a casual comedy fan. So you're like investing all this energy into talking to them and listening to them, and they might, you know, buy a t-shirt and disappear and you never see them again. And that doesn't mean it's not worth it. Obviously, I'm here to entertain people, but it just becomes extremely emotionally exhausting to listen to that. And sometimes you're there after the show for an extra hour talking to people, shaking hands, taking pictures, again, which is like awesome. Like obviously we want to meet our fans, but it's just like can become so draining after you've just performed for half an hour, after you've been at the venue since 5 p.m. and now you've been there 6 or 7 hours because you have to get there early for check-in and a sound check, and you know, it's not something that I really want to complain about because I'm so blessed I get to do it, but to be honest, it is extremely exhausting.
So what do you do to restore yourself after something like that?
I go home and don't talk to anyone and hug my doggy. and turn
Does
off
that,
the light.
and so your husband's like, no, don't talk to me right now. Like, and
Yeah, I just go completely sad. I actually hit a wall. So I'm an introvert. And a lot of people think introvert means shy, and it doesn't. It just means that I get tired from interaction, whereas extroverts get energized from interaction. So I need like a good like shutdown period with like the lights off and like the air on really cold and like a blanket so that I can just process all the data. It's like my operating system is like, overload.
yeah, I feel that myself. How are you doing right now? Have you reached that level with us yet?
I'm good.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You'll
Thank you.
see. I'm very obviously an introvert, so you'll kind of see me like.
Okay, guys, gotta go.
I was on the edge last time just because I think I didn't have lunch yet before we did our last recording, so
It worked out. It's too bad you guys will never hear it.
Hungry.
The lost episode.
Yeah, that's a great
So-
little.
Are you working on a special right now?
I am. I don't have any date of recording, and I don't know if it's fully fleshed out yet. But I don't know if I'm working on a special. I'm working on a lot of new material. I recorded my special right after COVID, and I think I told you guys this in the last podcast, but I'll repeat the story. I wasn't super happy with it because it was right after COVID, and there was still mask mandates, and I didn't realize how important the audience actually is in a special, but they would show me doing my joke and then they would pan to the audience and everyone has a mask on and they just kind of look like they're frowning, like no one looks happy. And so it really affected the performance as far as the way it comes across on the video. It doesn't translate. And so I was extremely depressed after I shot my special because of, when I saw the first edit and I saw how bad it looked with people with their COVID masks, I was really depressed. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll quit stand-up. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe, all the negativity and all the negative voices got into my head. And I thought, part of me thought I'm not going to ever be able to come up with, I don't know why, this is like such like a tortured artist, like bullshit. But I was like, oh, I'm never going to be able to come up with new jokes now. All my jokes are on my special and I suck and I'm not going to be able to come up with new jokes. And my friend Lana Turner, who's a famous headlining comedian and widow of Ralphie May, she told me that, I'm going to come up with all this new material and it's just going to come out of nowhere. And I was a little snarky with her. I was like, okay, yeah, right, whatever. It took me like, years to come up with this. Like all of a sudden I'm going to have all this new material. And that's what happened. It was like, I took the trash out. Not that my old material was trash, but it's like I dumped the trash bin out and there was room for more trash to come in.
Right. And don't you find that's freeing to like not be telling the same joke for 6 years?
Oh, it's so freeing. But I just was so scared. I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to come up with new material. I don't know why. It's so stupid. It's like a musician. Oh, I'm not going to be able to write a new song. But all this material came to me and all this like really great material. And I'm talking about so much more deep stuff. I have like jokes about my dad's death and jokes about, COVID and jokes about woke culture and jokes. I'm not even like super political, but like political jokes that I really like. And I say that because I hate political humor. I hate it. I think it's very soapboxy and it's funny because I try to write my political jokes so you can't tell what my politics is. But it's so funny because people assume a lot of things about me because I'm a woman, I'm a minority, and I live in Los Angeles. And it's just interesting to see what people assume when I start saying certain premises.
Talk about projection.
Yeah.
One of the things that really bothers me about Saturday Night Live is the way that they open every show with something like some kind of thing about Congress or the president or and I'm done. I'm like, I see this enough of this guy. Like, I don't need this from you. Give me something else.
I agree with you. And the thing that makes me so upset is that I think that a lot of comedians think that because you're saying something political, you're being edgy or like unique, but there's like no punchline. Like they're just saying, like, I'll go to a comedy show and people will be like, you know, F ice, and the crowd applauses, and they feel so like I did something, and I'm like, okay, regardless of whether your viewpoint on ICE is pro or anti-ICE, that's not a punchline. You're just like, you didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And so I don't like that. I was like, tell a joke. Like, it's okay if it's a political joke, but tell a joke. Don't just go up there and be like, F
it
Trump.
needs a setup and it needs a punchline for sure.
Exactly. And so I don't like that about the new kind of politicalized comedy, is like people will go up there and they'll be like, F Trump or F ICE. And I'm like, okay, but where's the punchline? Like, that's not a punchline.
Right.
Yeah. I think Norm
We've never had a president who was a former comedian. We've had presidents that were actors.
Yeah.
We have. I am trying to think. I think isn't the president of Ukraine a comedian?
Yeah,
well, yes. That's the exception.
Exception.
I'm trying to think of other countries to see if I can think of any other country where there's been an entertainer or
wasn't the Prime Minister of Canada in the entertainment? Oh, the Italian woman who was the head of Italy was a porn star, wasn't she?
Oh.
Yes, that's true. She was not the prime minister, but she was
whatever.
She was in parliament.
I know Javier Milei is a swinger.
All right.
Ooh, does he want that information out there?
No,
obviously
he talks about it. He's a swinger.
Oh.
He's the president of I'm blanking. Venezuela? No,
that guy's in jail.
Yeah, no one's the president of Venezuela right now.
No. Colombia.
Okay. And he has an upside down pineapple by his.
Is that what that means?
Yes, upside down pineapple means you're a swinger. You didn't know that? Marc's doing this.
No, obviously I'm not a swinger.
Yeah, he's a swinger. He doesn't have kids. He doesn't have kids. He has 7 dogs and calls his dogs his fur babies. He's he's crazy and quirky.
It takes a lot of integrity to be a swinger. I think the level of honesty in intimate relationships is really, really important in just any monogamous relationship. So to be able to do that in a multiple threads, just how you manage all the texts alone is a challenge.
The group chats.
Ooh. Okay. I'm learning. Maybe it's not too late for me. Wow.
Your partner just called me. She's shutting us down.
I got to tell a story about her. We do this thing called Comedy Saturdays. And what it means is we get up on Saturday and we cultivate either watching a stand-up or having something going, in the background while we do what we do on Saturday, because we want to have more joy and fun in our life. And one of the things that we've done is give ourselves permission to say funny shit, even though neither of us are comedians. And it works really well. And one day we were like, well, let's do some karaoke. So she was singing karaoke and this thing happened where she suddenly became a stand-up comedian. The song ended and she just started going. And she was talking about menopause and talking about men and talking about and I was like, oh my God, she was so brilliant. She's so funny, but she's so shy. There's no way she'd get up on an open mic stage and attempt it. But I was just people, here's the moral of my story. Be funny. Try it. You got nothing to lose but the frown lines.
Exactly. You want your frown lines to go like this, not this.
Right.
Yeah.
I know I try and every week you tune in, you get to see me fail and I just keep failing up on some level.
Well, I think it's really important that you say that, Marc, because I think a lot of people don't realize, and I think I talked about it this on the defunct episode, but stand-up comedy and comedy in general is the only art form in the entire world where you have to fail to actually know if you're any good, right? You can practice music, you can play your guitar. in your room with no audience, but you need a live audience, even if it's just one person, even if it's just Marc looking at his partner saying, hey, that's hilarious. Because if you weren't there, I don't know if she would have known if it was funny or not, right? You need that feedback. You need someone else laughing at you. And so that's why I kind of really don't like this. And they've stopped it at a lot of comedy clubs where they don't allow phones. But I don't like this like secret filming of comics and posting stuff to go viral or whatever, because sometimes the joke's not funny yet. It's not ready.
Right. Yeah. What do you think of that release of Norm Macdonald's stand-up special that he had recorded like 48 hours before he passed? Do you think there's a place for that?
Posthumous stand-up?
Yeah. So have you seen it?
I haven't.
Okay. So on Netflix, he recorded for himself his stand-up before he was going to do his special.
Oh, is he talking to himself?
Right.
Yes,
right.
I have seen it. Yeah.
Okay, and then they had a panel talking about it afterwards. I think it was like Adam Sandler and some Conan. Anyway, I'm wondering, was there an honest place in the entertainment realm for that, or do you think that was just ultimately a money grab from producers?
I think probably a little bit of both. I mean, people probably wanted to know what he was thinking. If he was prepping that for his final special, then it's a very special thing, you know, and Norm is one of the greatest comedy writers of all time. So we want to hear what he was thinking of. So I think that, but yeah, probably also a money grab. As I said, two things can be true at the same time.
Wow. Yeah.
And what a tender moment to experience it. Like, I had no idea this existed, Greg. And I actually would love to see it because of my love for him. And I fully expect to feel like a lot of heaviness and sadness as well. And it may be, that's why the theater emblem is the happy face and the drama face, right? Like I'm going to ask this as a question, Rosie. Is it true that great bits or great jokes have a human pathos element as part of them?
Yes, I think the best material is the material that's personal. It's the material. It's so weird. Like, if you watch a lot of stand-up, and I'm not talking about stand-up specials, I'm talking about going to the comedy club and seeing comics work out raw material. There's something, you know, they say human beings are lie detectors. Like, if someone's lying to you, you can tell. And there's something about a joke. You can just tell if someone's made something up or if they're telling it from a kernel of truth, like it's something that's happened to them. You can just, like, even if you don't know the comedian, if you've literally just seen them for 2 seconds on stage, and it can change also from comedian to comedian. If a comedian is it's the same comedian and they're telling one joke from a place of they just thought of something funny and another place of, hey, this actually happened to me, you can just like feel it. And it just hits differently. It's like if you can feel that they're being really honest, then it's funnier, I think. Like, if it's coming from an honest place.
Do you think Robin Williams had an ability to just, even in his imagination, there was still this connection to humanity that we all felt? And I'm thinking of his famous golf bit about the Scottish inventing golf.
I think that, so I met Robin, and he was definitely I accidentally opened for him at the Improv one night. And I say accidentally because he was a surprise celebrity drop-in.
Right.
And it was so cool that I got to meet him before he passed away. And he had an element for sure of empathy, I think. Marc's bored.
No, I'm not bored. I just had an itchy forehead.
Okay. He definitely had an element of empathy that could be felt through the crowd. And I think that the more sensitive a comedian is, you can kind of feel that connection to humanity. Where it's funny though, because a lot of comedians are very empathetic, but they have a wall up, and it comes off a lot of times as like a roasting comedian or a really mean-spirited comedian. And sometimes those are really sensitive people too. So there is an element of being able to connect to the human spirit, I think.
You know, very few people in my mind are worthy of creating a kind of AI twin, partially because I'm not into AI as a whole very much. I mean, I'm understanding it and studying it and trying to learn because I feel like I have to. But there's this element when we talk about Robin Williams where it would be worth it to go through all of his interview footage, all of his, you know, acting jobs and all of his comedy routines, and then use that as a way to construct a kind of mechanical composite of his personality, just so that we could still start to interact with it and see, like, we could just have a little bit more, and of course it will fall completely short of the real human being.
Well, I'd like to believe that's true.
But there's an element, none of us knew the Mona Lisa, right? But because Da Vinci captured her, and now it's this eternal contemplation in the art world, like, what's that face telling us, right? That's the question. And I think with an AI composite of Robin, we would still have that experience of, like, I know it's not really him, but there's so much here that it would give me a little bit less of missing him. And maybe that's a bad thing. Like, maybe it's important we miss him and that we don't actually have this. But like I said at the beginning of this diatribe, he's one of the few that I think it would be worth doing. And I'm not really into doing that with people, but I think it'd be really cool with him.
I don't know what to say to that, Marc.
That's a good start. I know it has very little to do with you. You could judge it. You could critique it.
I'm
not
judging it.
I'm not judging it. I'm just curious.
I'm judging it.
I'm curious what you're saying, because it's like, what you said, maybe we're meant to miss people, and maybe we're meant to, maybe Robin Williams is a great comedian and a comedic actor and a personality, and this is an existential question, and maybe he is so great because that greatness was in a limited time frame. So, right? We don't know
and
that.
Authentic to the moment, authentic to the environment.
So by making this composite of him, does that essentially ironically erase who he is by extending something that wasn't supposed to be extended? So it's something I grapple with. It's, like I said, it's an existential question. It's like, is life valuable because it's so short? And are things talented or special and unique because they're rare?
I don't disagree, and I think he deserves more than a tunnel with some rainbow lines drawn off it.
Well, he just got 6 seconds of our life. 6 minutes of our life. So,
my friend used to say something. He used to say, "I'd like to take a vacation in Gary Larson's brain." And Gary Larson is famous for a comic strip that he wrote in the 80s and 90s. I forget the name of the strip. And I think it'd be fun to take a vacation inside of Robin Williams' brain. I think that's what I'm responding to in this point. Unfortunately, I've done a bad job as a podcast host, because now instead of the attention being on you, Rosie, it's on me and my crazy idea. So I apologize for that. And
that's okay, but I think that what you're saying is also maybe misguided, Marc, because Robin Williams, his brain, he was tortured. He had a lot of, even when I saw him at the Improv in Hollywood, he was really struggling. He was doing a very odd act. It wasn't his traditional act. He was doing this act where it was basically about him being sick and tired of being Robin Williams and being sick and tired of being in his own body and his own brain and his own thoughts. And so, I don't know. You think you want to be inside of a mind of a comedic genius, but maybe it's a hot mess. And that's why he was a comedic genius.
Yeah. I think he was a hot mess in many ways. I think that's part of what we connect with, is we see the pathos behind the smile. Like he, I think, embodied the tears of a clown.
Yeah,
beautiful.
The sad clown. Exactly. So I don't know, Marc, it might be torturous. You might get in and take a vacation in his mind and be like, get me out of here.
Yes, the acid is kind of like that too.
Like, get me out, please.
Well, is there anything that hasn't been touched upon, Rosie, that you'd like to say to the world in this moment?
Well, this is your guys' podcast, so what do you ask me anything? You have your chance before I put a spell on this StreamYard.
before the technology blows up. Are you coming up to the Bay Area?
I am not in the near future, but when I do come up to the Bay Area, I went up there last year for a tour for a couple of shows. So I will let you guys know if I come up there. But until then,
So-
everyone can catch me on Rosie Tran Presents on Tubi and Amazon.
Yay.
Did I do it, Mark? Did I do it? Did I promote myself?
Yeah, that was perfect. Well done. And I want to ask you, as you dream into your future, the next 5 years, what outlandish, impractical goal would you love to have happen for you?
I would love, if it was to be 5 years, to have multiple seasons of Rosie Tran Presents out. I would love to sell my series for $100 million to like some media conglomerate, and be touring with the show and with all the awesome comedians that I have on my show. I don't think that's that outlandish, though. I actually think that's like within the realm of reason and possibility.
Good.
And I guess maybe I need to be more outlandish.
I love it.
Well, I'm wondering, do you have a manager or someone who's out in the world, like hitting up Sirius XM and Netflix, etc., and knocking on their doors for you?
I have a publicist that does that for me. I do not have a manager, and I don't want a manager.
Well, so you're doing that for yourself.
I have, and I've had multiple managers, and maybe I had bad luck in Hollywood, or maybe this is more the norm than not. But there's a saying that managers get paid 10% for a reason, because they only do 10% of the work. So I would rather keep my 10% and do 100% of the work. Sorry, guys.
Sizzling. All right. This is amazing. Thank you for that vision of yourself and for the hardcore truth telling. God, and what an amazing smile. Like, you just bring levity into the room. And I'm so grateful that you were willing to spend time with us a second time.
A second time. Oh my gosh. Hopefully not a third time. No, just
We'll have to pay the $40.
StreamYard.
You'll see us on your OnlyFans.
Yay!
Right.
You guys are actually my target demographic, but you have partners, so you're not lonely enough.
The lonely old white man.
Yay!
Oh, God. Well, if you're a
Speaking
lonely
of
old white
lonely
man and
old
you're
white
watching
men.
this, well, go ahead, Greg.
I was going to go into our last question.
I have
help us.
lonely old men from other ethnicities as well, guys. That's a little close-minded.
Great.
Okay. All right.
Great.
All right. So we'll definitely have links to all your various platforms out in the world. So anyone go to Moped Outlaws and you can connect with Rosie Tran, and definitely check out the official title is Rosie Tran Presents
Yes.
on Tubi and Amazon. I watched a little bit of it. I saw the gentleman who you said your friend Jan. What's his name?
Aiden?
He's the homosexual gentleman who said that he has this great joke like, you won't get AIDS, but you all leave Asian.
Yes, Aiden.
Punchline without remembering the guy's name. We're just killing it here.
I'm horrible with names. I'm horrible with names.
Me too. Me too. So I'm going to rescue you, Greg. There's one question we love to ask all of our guests, and we ask it at the end of the show. And with any luck, you've forgotten it since the last time we were on here. But Rosie, Eminem or Foo Fighters?
Foo Fighters. I did not forget the question.
Damn.
All right,
Why?
so
What is it about them?
Foo Fighters, yeah.
Just because they're better. I don't know.
Great.
Oh,
Awesome.
M's gonna come for you. That's it. There's a diss track in the making.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for coming back on the show after the disastrous technical difficulties we had before. When it started, I was worried that we wouldn't be able to capture the magic, but you are eternally magical and fun to be around.
Wow. Wow, Mark. The magic can always be created because it's new and special. And we're creating magic on the podcast. And I'm standing in a cloud. Look,
Recording stopped.